Hello and welcome to our very special coverage of the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. Over the next 45 minutes, we'll be taking you through everything that you need to know ahead of 2 weeks of very fierce competition, as athletes are about to throw their hats into the ring for one of the most iconic sporting events in the calendar. Runners, swimmers, gymnasts, and even skateboarders are in Japan this time round, and this is all happening, of course, 1 year later than planned, after the pandemic meant that the Games had to be postponed for the first ever time. The only time that they had actually been completely cancelled were for World War I and World War II. But without further ado, let's run straight into the Games and head straight to Tokyo, where our sports editor Simon Harding and all our team will be covering the Games for us every day throughout this 2-week competition. Simon, it feels like absolutely ages since the Games actually wrapped up in Rio, but the opening ceremony is only a few minutes away. I can only imagine that the excitement is finally bubbling over there.
The excitement is bubbling, and an overwhelming sense of relief that these Olympic Games are going to be going ahead. The athletes, the Olympic Committee, the Tokyo 2020 Organising Committee have worked so hard for this event to go ahead. And as you mentioned, the Olympic opening ceremony just around the corner. Yes, it will be a ceremony like no other, with less than 1,000 guests inside the stadium able to follow the ceremony, with delegations cut almost to a minimum because of health and safety restrictions. It must be said that the atmosphere throughout Tokyo hasn't been that of a city hosting these Olympic Games so far, with much of the Japanese population a little disinterested in the build-up to these Olympic Games. But we can only hope and only imagine that this is going to pick up as time goes ahead, because, as you mentioned, the Olympics are the biggest sporting event on the planet, going back to ancient times. And the work done to have this Olympic Games against all odds, against the amount of adversity that has happened, go ahead, is an achievement in itself. And of course, the athletes, the press, everyone is just so excited, James, for it to start.
Now, of course, so you mentioned there won't be an edition like any others before. What exactly is that going to entail? Because you're in Tokyo right now. What's it been like so far? What's it going to be like throughout these 2 weeks?
Well, very simply, because of the current context, it's masks, it's COVID tests, it's very few athletes allowed in areas where usually they would be allowed to participate, to show their happiness, and of course draconian health measures. But let us not forget once again that there are over 11,300 athletes hoping to win a medal, 207 countries, with over 70 countries expected to win a gold medal. This is an event where it isn't just one country that takes away the top prize, but many people share in the joy of sport. It's an unprecedented event because, of course, we have somewhat of the passing of the baton between generations. There won't be key athletes that have dominated the Games in the past 12 years. There are new athletes on the blocks. There are new personalities coming in. And, of course, there are transgender athletes participating for the very first time. It does promise to be a very memorable Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, one that will live long in the memory.
All right, Simon, of course, we're going to be coming back to you throughout the show. Now,